Have you ever heard of the girl who came from the moon? Most people think it's a beautiful story, a fairy tale about a celestial princess who descends to Earth in a beam of silver light, only to return to the heavens after breaking the hearts of mortal men. But that version was made to comfort children. Tonight you'll hear the version that was never meant to be spoken aloud. One that was whispered by monks behind temple walls. One that was buried in records destroyed by fire. One that was sealed in bamboo for a reason. It begins in a village that no longer exists. There are no roads to it now, no names on any map. Only the wind remembers its name. The village sat beside a forest known as the Sleeping Bamboo Grove. But the villagers knew the truth. The bamboo never slept. It hummed. And sometimes it watched. Old Takahiro was a bamboo cutter, a poor, quiet man whose eyes had begun to fail with age. Each morning, he wandered the forest trails, harvesting stalks to sell for coin. He avoided the northern grove. Everyone did. The shadows there were heavier, the air thicker. The animals refused to enter. But one grey morning, fog. Clinging to the mossy ground, Takahiro heard something. A melody, low, almost imperceptible, like a woman humming through stone. Drawn by the sound, he wandered deep into the forbidden grove until he saw it. A stalk of bamboo glowing faintly. Its skin shimmered like wet metal under moonlight, though no sun had yet risen. Curious, he reached for his blade and cut it open, and the forest fell silent. Inside the hollow stalk was a girl, no bigger than a teacup, naked, pale, smiling. Her eyes were stitched shut. She was warm to the touch, and when he lifted her into his palms, she whispered his name. But he had never told it to her. Terrified yet entranced, Takahiro brought her home. His wife gasped at the sight of the girl but said nothing. They wrapped her in silk and laid her in a wooden box by the hearth. That night they slept deeply for the first time in years. And in the morning their hut was filled with gold. Piles of it. Coins spilling from beneath the tatami floor. Takahiro returned to the grove the next day. Every stalk he cut bled gold dust. The villagers called it a miracle. They called the girl Kaguya. She grew quickly. By the second full moon, she looked like a 16-year-old. Her skin glowed faintly at night. Her presence made clocks stop. Milk curdled in her shadow. Insects refused to crawl across her bedding. And at night she sang, low, droning chants in a language no one knew, even when no one was in the room with her. The singing could be heard echoing from the walls. The priest came to bless the house. He brought scrolls and incense, but as he entered, his hands began to bleed. He looked at Kaguya only once and vomited ash. "She is not from the moon," he whispered, trembling. "She is from before the moon." Word spread. Wealthy men from far lands came to see her beauty. They returned pale and silent. One spoke of a vision of silver towers growing from a sea of flesh, of an eye beneath the forest. Another man clawed his own throat open after leaving her presence. Still, the bamboo cutter was convinced she was divine. She never blinked, never ate. Her body emitted no warmth. But every night her eyes twitched beneath the black threads. And every full moon, more strange events occurred. Children vanished. Goats gave birth to eyeless young. The village well turned black. The mirror in the shrine cracked without sound. And then she began to ask for things. To prove their love, she said, the suitors must bring her impossible gifts. A robe that could not burn. A bowl that refilled itself with tears. A tree that bloomed in moonlight alone. A jewel plucked from the heart of the sea god. The sound of a newborn's final breath. Some tried. None succeeded. They were found days later, tangled in vines. smiling. Lips sewn shut with bamboo fiber, Kaguya laughed. Not a sound of joy, but of satisfaction, like a predator that has fed well. One morning, Takahiro awoke to find every surface in the house carved with circles. The symbols glowed faintly and pulsed when touched. Kaguya no longer slept. She stood motionless in the corner of the room, chanting. The air around her buzzed like flies trapped behind glass. He tried to touch her and was thrown across the room. His wife died 3 nights later. She awoke screaming, clutching her face, screaming that the moon was bleeding. Her body was found folded into itself. Like paper, Kaguya said nothing. The forest began to change. Bamboo stalks turned black. Their leaves curled like claws. Birds flew in circles above the house and fell dead mid-flight. Then the sky cracked. It didn't thunder, it tore. A thin silver line split the heavens from horizon to horizon. And from it came the pale ones, tall, featureless, cloaked in light that burned the skin. They made no sound. They descended silently, surrounding the house. One by one, the villagers tried to flee and were turned to stone mid-stride. Kaguya stepped outside. She tore the threads from her eyes. There were no eyeballs, only void. She looked to the pale ones and whispered, "I have fed you well. Take me home." And then, the house collapsed inward like it was never there. When the sun rose, nothing remained. No hut, no bamboo, no trees, no people. Just a ring of ash and a single open bamboo stalk, glowing faintly, bleeding silver. No one speaks of that place now, but the wind still carries her voice, singing, calling, smiling. And if you ever see a girl standing alone in a bamboo grove, eyes sewn shut, head tilted, run! Because she's no longer waiting to be found. She's waiting for the next one to break the seal. And that might be you. Thank you for listening. If you made it to the end, you're brave. But be careful tonight. They say those who hear the full story of the cursed bamboo sometimes dream of silver light. And when they wake up, there's a stalk growing just outside their window. Good night, and never open it.